Brooklyn Independent Television.
Welcome to Healthbeat Brooklyn on Brooklyn Independent Television. I'm Dr. Monica Sweeney. In this country, few illnesses are more closely associated with one particular group than sickle cell disease. As many as 100,000 people are affected, and the vast majority of them are African Americans. Without treatment, sickle cell can be very painful, and life expectancy can be reduced by up to 30 years. But as we'll see, at Brookdale Hospital, there are treatments, and they start when patients are very young.
So you're doing fine. How is school?
Good.
School is good? Okay. I'm going to examine you, okay? So, sickle cell disease is a condition where the red cells, instead of being normal donut shaped, is shaped like a sickle. And the reason these red cells are shaped like a sickle is because there is a problem with the hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen in the red cells. And normal people have hemoglobin A, which is adult hemoglobin, while people with sickle cell disease have sickle hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin in the cells can give the red cells the shape of a sickle. The way one gets sickle cell disease is it's a genetic disease, it's inherited. So if a person has the sickle cell trait and the partner that they have a baby with has sickle cell trait, then there is a 1 in 4 chance with each pregnancy that they have a baby with sickle cell disease. Okay. Think you can lift this up? All right. Lift this up. Take nice deep breaths for me. The problem with sickle red cells is that they break up very soon. So if a normal red cell lives for about 120 days, sickle cells live for about 30 to 40 days. So the patient is anemic. And in addition, these sickle cells are very sticky, and they also cannot traverse or go through small capillaries. They block blood supply to certain parts. So when they block the blood supply to, say, the bones, certain parts of the bones, the patient gets excruciating pain. And that is why pain is a hallmark of sickle cell disease.
The Comprehensive Pediatric Sickle Cell Center has been at Brookdale for over 25 years. And our primary goal in this project is to provide outreach and education and awareness to our community, to providers, and to just general individuals in the community about sickle cell disease and trait. We're actually at the epicenter of sickle cell trait and sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease affects 1 in 400 people of African descent, and we're in Brownsville, East New York area. We also provide services for surrounding areas. We know our population, so we know that we do have a responsibility to bring that information to our community.
You sound great. Sound great. Shall we check to see what your oxygen level is in your blood? There are treatments available for sickle cell disease, and one of them is a medicine called hydroxyurea. When given to patients with sickle cell disease, they make them produce a higher amount of a hemoglobin called the fetal hemoglobin, or hemoglobin F, which is present in babies when they are inside the mother's womb. And that seems to protect these children, and they get less crises or painful crises or acute chest syndrome. Is there any problem taking the hydroxyurea?
No.
Does he just, is it liquid, or does he take the capsule?
He takes the capsule.
How many does he take?
He takes 2.
Every day?
Yeah.
So it's working out well?
Yes, very good. He's been a lot better since he's been taking the hydroxyurea because his hospitalization lessens. He used to be more admitted in the hospital at least 2-3 times a year, and now he's gone down to almost 1, almost none.
The other treatment is blood transfusions, and this is essential for patients who've had a stroke and also who are at high risk for stroke, because there's a special test that we do for children to detect which child is at high risk for stroke.
Yeah. Can I do this?
You want to do the bubbles? Yeah. My name is Donna, and this is Corinne. Corinne is 4 years old. We're from Brooklyn. Corinne was born at Brookdale Hospital, and we were told there's a 25% chance that she might have sickle cell anemia, and she does have sickle cell anemia. I was, expecting her not to have it, just to have the trait. The first crisis was when she was 9 months old. So, and she was aching, and every time we touched her hand, she would cry and so forth. So we brought her in, and then she's had a few crises and a lot of hospitalizations. And we tried a hydroxyurea, but it didn't really work for her. So now she gets transfusions. First it was once a month, now we're up to three times a month. And a port was put in her because it was hard to get a vein in her every time she would get a needle stuck in her. So this is our life now, every 3 weeks. The transfusion, it helps a lot. She hasn't had many crises. It's working for her, but just wondering how long we're going to keep this routine up.
The cure for sickle cell disease is essentially a bone marrow transplant, and this is done ideally with a sibling who has either the trait or no hemoglobin problem, and who is a perfect match. Those children can be sent for a transplant. On this side, up high, down low, too slow. I'm sorry. I just want people to understand that these children are like any other children, and they have their dreams and aspirations. We tell our kids to reach for the stars. We've had patients who've gone on to become physicians and nurses, and people can do that. It is a question of making sure they're followed well in a comprehensive sickle cell program so that they can get the care they need, and be aware of the advances in sickle cell disease that is going on in this country and the world.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at brickartsmedia.org/BIT.